It's Saturday night, ladies and gentlemen, so it means it's that time to get you ready for your wrestling fix and especially wrestling championship entertainment. And literally just minutes ago, we have some breaking news involving our guest here, who certainly is no stranger to us, but they still call him a new messiah. And I think this breaking news is going to certainly want to percolate the attention of our guest here because it involves him and an opponent that I'm sure that he may or may not want, but we're going to get his opinion on it, plus maybe somebody else coming in later on. So stay tuned for all of it, but our guest needs no further introduction, but we're going to give it to him anyway. So with it, wait for it, further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one, Global Sports Show. Pro wrestling star here from Wrestling Championship Entertainment. The new Messiah, Nicholas Crenson. Mr. Crenson, how are you tonight?
I am doing wonderful, Reverend. And I'm going to say this, that introduction of yours never, ever will get old. Like, you just have all the energy right there inside that introduction you do for us.
Well, certainly I'll take the kind words on my obituary. We have a ton of people already tuned in. In fact, wrestlers from all over the world. So we have to get to first, though, that there is breaking news here, Nicholas Crenson. It involves you. And it
Yes,
involved
yes.
our general manager, Mark Packer, who we had on here in your position a couple of short weeks ago. And apparently, Mr. Packer has made an announcement for one of your opponents coming up here at the season opener of Wrestling Championship Entertainment, Luck of the Draw. And for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, it could be a face that you're very familiar with. And it looks like a catalyst is going to be standing across from you in the apron. And for those that are listening and watching, your reactions to the breaking news that Mark Packer gave us here on the Wrestling Championship Entertainment social media pages just a few minutes ago.
Well, he did say that I was not going to really like the choices he made. And Mr. Packer, bravo. You really did decide to pick somebody from my past who was a bit of a challenge, but here's the problem with that. You picked Catalyst. Seems like James Marshall himself would rather bring Catalyst to the party instead of himself. So I am not worried.
You're not
at all.
worried? Why do you say that? I would think that this seems to be in a way to get back after you after what your lawyers had done to Mr. Packer and Wrestling Championship Entertainment. You don't think that this was some sort of
Oh,
retaliation?
kinda. Like the Mark Packer is still dealing with that nightmare because I'll probably bring it up when I talk about this lovely little thing above me right here. But
We're going to
here's the
talk about
thing.
that. Don't worry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here's the thing. He would have had a better chance of having me worried if he would have picked James Marshall over Catalyst because nothing against them, but Catalyst is the dollar store discount diet version of James Marshall.
Ooh, wow. I mean, that's really strong words, though. I mean, and especially after your wars with James Marshall. I mean, still some strong words there. I mean, are you sure that those are words you want to stand by and endorse?
Look look at this like this. Catalyst is James when he doesn't have to worry. Catalyst is James Marshall when he can take things easy. And with me, you can never take things easy.
But some would say that James Marshall and Catalyst is almost like Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy. I mean, that's what some might compare it to. I mean, are you sure that you still want to stand by this, being that a few short weeks away, the season is going to start, and you very well are going to have to deal with these comments tonight?
Oh, I'm sure, because you made the Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy type comparison with James Marshall and Catalyst. I'm more looking at it like this: James Marshall is the Hulk, Catalyst is Bruce Banner.
Ooh. Okay, all right. I'll give you that much here. And I do have a ton of comments, so let me get to some people first. The lawman Kyle Kennedy, who is up right now at, I believe it's 3:08 a.m. in the UK. And by the way, he has some new merchandise, which you want to check out on the Pro Wrestling Tees page. Mr. Justice Kyle Kennedy on Instagram, the lawman K Kennedy on Twitter, and follow him on Facebook, because I'll make sure that I'll be purchasing some of that merchandise tomorrow, and some of it you might actually look familiar because the Sportswire Radio logo is actually on that. So huge shout out to the lawman Kyle Kennedy. And speaking of people that you just referenced to, there he is right up on the screen, Mr. James Marshall. What do you want to say to Mr. Marshall now that he's here?
James. I figured you didn't want to come out and play for Luck of the Draw, so I'm just guessing, that you decided that you're gonna let Catalyst have a go at it.
Are you trying to say that he's on maybe diaper duty instead?
Well, congratulations to him. He did just become a father in the past couple months here, so but we'll see.
All right, fair enough here. And certainly we do have a few more comments. First, let me get everybody back in. Casey Jack Bradley, another young trainee who comes via also the UK and is out there for GT Ministry, says, good morning or evening. Well, I guess you could say both, right? Because technically in the UK, it's good morning. We're here in the Midwest
Yes.
and the Northeast, it's good evening. So I guess you could say good morning and good evening. And I guess in other continents, you could even say good afternoon. And somebody else is here with us that you're familiar with, Adonis Felios, the Drip King. Anything you want to say to the Drip King?
How's that arm treating you, Adonis?
Okay. All right. Well, I've got some more comments here, so let's move on here because obviously that was kind of short. Let's go, Catalyst, from, of course, our Rotus Championship Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, the resident rock star, Sean Jovi himself, says, let's go, Catalyst. And Mr. Marshall specifically speaks to you here and says, you wouldn't want to deal with me seeing how I acted last season. I ended Jonathan Pierce's career. I made your career hell and others as well. There is a point that James Marshall, who was the former interstate champion here, the interstate openweight champion at WCE, and I mean, his year was extremely successful. I mean, what he did out there, and you had some wars that we spoke about here, quite a bit, the Iron Man match, and you guys, I would say that you and him were really the feud of WCE throughout the summer of 2022, and I mean, what's your point on that? I mean, he did end Jonathan Pierce's career. Your career hit a little bit of a roadblock, which led you to this new character, some would say. And I mean, what do you say to that?
It's good soda here.
What
James.
flavor?
Grape.
Okay,
Good
all
old
right.
soda.
Interesting. Okay.
James. You touched on something. Me and James Marshall was feud of the year. But see, whereas I've just gotten better because of that, James has slinked back into the shell of the man he used to be after this, because he thought everything was going to be easy. So he decided, I don't need to bring this edge that I have. I'm just going to put the mask back on, mask the monster. Maybe it'll turn out well for him, but James, really, you have to be playing it all in You have to put all your chips in if you're going to even stand a chance of being interstate champion. And that especially goes if you're going to be Catalyst, because this is going to be a war.
What have you learned from the wars you had last summer with James Marshall that's going to propel you this time over Catalyst?
Simple. Don't underestimate him. I've made that mistake too many times. And it's cost me match after match. It's cost me the Interstate Openweight Championship. And I'm not doing that anymore. I've had a epiphany as of late that you can't just take things as it comes. You need to be serious about everything. You need to take your opponents seriously. Don't underestimate them. And also don't underestimate the how do I say this? The quality of power you get when you have the strength in numbers.
All right. I'm going to come back to that in a second, but I do have some more comments. First, the lawman Kyle Kennedy says, "Thank you, Tom. Appreciate the plug for my Pro Wrestling Tees page. Although I have a feeling that you'll actually be tuned in later tonight when I have on Owen Carter from Wrestling Appreciation Society, and something tells me that the lawman Kyle Kennedy, I think you could just go off on Owen Carter. That's just my prediction, but I guess we'll have to find out. It's 8 o'clock British Standard Time for Owen Carter. I'm looking forward to that one as we get ready for Wrestling Appreciation Society's deadline coming up, which is next month out there in Huddersfield. But in the meantime, do go to the Lawman Kyle Kennedy's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and go buy one of his shirts because that's something I am very, very excited to be wearing very, very soon here. But a few more comments of note. Adonis Felios says, "Luck for you. Adonis Felios wasn't chosen to defeat you, but we will cross paths soon enough." I mean, all right, well, maybe stay tuned. Sean Jovi says Crenson and Catalyst is an endless tale in time. Well, until I get my title shot anyway. I mean, what do you say to that before I move on and go back to Mr. Marshall / Catalyst?
Sean, I love you, buddy, but please don't make the same mistake Darkfire did and get in the way of things before it's even begun, because I know you have a belt too, and I might as well go after that as well at some point. But really, Sean, your time will come. And hey, if you got me staring down your face whenever you cash that title shot in as the interstate champion, good luck to you. But I'm going to end and dash all your dreams if that happens.
Well, we'll certainly have to find out, and obviously, we will see the resident rock star Sean Jovi in action defending that Ronus Championship Wrestling belt against a who's who of potential competitors. And stay tuned for later this month here on Sportswire Radio. And the lawman says, "Ooh, you will most certainly see me back in those comments when Owen Carter arrives." Yeah, I figured that. I definitely figured that you won't be as maybe jovial when Mr. Carter comes on, so I'll definitely have to say that we'll see what he has to say. But we will have to say though what first we have here. Somebody has said something here named Skulls saying something buzzing. I think you might have to find out in a little while about what he's talking about here. But I think we're all excited about that. But also, I want to come back to James Marshall because I want to tie this into what I wanted to ask you before some more comments. Catalyst is serious. He just doesn't want to injure you and put you on the shelf, as I would make you beg for mercy, and I won't show you mercy. Let me ask you, though, this, and obviously we've seen the issues you've had with your legal team and Mark Packer. We've also talked about the fact that you haven't won a championship in 17 years, just about. You've said a lot here tonight. You've said a lot on previous shows here on Sportswire Radio, along with your legal team. Are you concerned that the pressure is on you, especially here with the fact that it has still been 17 years since you've won a championship? You have one of the longest droughts right now, not just in wrestling, but maybe in all of sports right now. The new Messiah, Nicholas Crenson.
I mean, you could say you do have a good point there. I mean, 17 years is a long time to go without a championship. I mean, then again,
Kyle
ask the Montreal
Kennedy's been with
Canadiens.
us. Hey, listen. Kyle Kennedy's been in the ring for about a year and a half, and he's already a tag team champion. I mean, you've been 17 years without the gold. I mean, there is a point there. The Canadians, sure, you could bring them up too, but he's been out. He's had about 14 matches in his career, 13. He's already a champion, and it's been 17 long years.
See, I will say it does kind of get to me, but also I look at it this way. Yes, 17 long years of no championship, but also I've had to deal with 17 long years of proving myself and getting better and better and better. And I'm dealing with some of the best competition there is. I might not like some of them, but I am facing some of the best goddamn competition we have.
I will give you that we have some of the best competitors in this sport with wrestling championship entertainment. When it comes to the likes of the resident rock star Sean Jovi, even your current nemesis right now, Darkfire, James Marshall, Catalyst, certainly Craven Rage. I mean, there's a whole list. Adonis Felios, can never forget about Adonis Felios. Kodak Kid, Dash Andrews. I mean, there is a long list of talent that we've seen here in WCE of note. This is where the big boys play, as some might say. This is where the big superstars are. This is where they say that if you can make it in WCE, you can make it anywhere. So you guys pretty much, you are in really the premier company right now. I would say in the one of the premier in the world. So there's certainly points to that as well.
I'm gonna put down a bit of a reality here about being a champion. See, a lot of people think being a champion does wonders for the wrestler, and really it's not that big of a deal, because where the real glory that comes in from being a champion isn't because you've won the title. It's from what you are able to do, the match quality, the shows, the matches, the wins, all you can do with the title once you have it.
But you've been 17 years though without it though. You haven't wanted that championship?
Oh no, I definitely want the championship.
I've had you on 5 times now. This has come up quite a bit, especially in this off season. This has been a big topic here.
I look at it like this. I want the championship, and I have said I am going to be a champion this year. And don't get me wrong, I kind of take this with stride, but I do get frustrated not holding the title for that long, just because I know I can do it. I know that I have all the tools. I am the best goddamn wrestler on the roster. I'm one of the best technicians. I'm the best on the mic. Put me on commentary, I will throw it out of the park. You give me a match type, I will figure it out and I will make it mine. Look at the competition we have. I'm just getting better and better and better. And this year, there is no second guessing this. This isn't hyperbole or, a little fairy tale. This season, I will hold championship gold. That drought is ending. And I'm also going to become a even bigger pain for Mark Packer once I have it.
Strong words from the new Messiah, Nicholas Crenson, about what's to come at Wrestling Championship Entertainment's luck of the draw. And if you want to follow Wrestling Championship Entertainment, please give them a like on Facebook at WCE Heat, Wrestling Championship Entertainment, WCEHeat.com for more information on the upcoming season. Also, subscribe to their page on YouTube at Wrestling Championship Entertainment. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. I am the host of the Sports Report and the owner of Sportswire Radio. Let's get to a few more comments here before I ask about the logo that we see up here on the screen. Adonis Felios says, when the Drip King returns, you'll see soon a very hard-hitting Adonis Felios. Thus, this season, my head is like a shark's fin. In other words, you're looking at the new jaws inside the ring. Sounds like here almost Adonis Felios is watching a lot of Creed 3, it seems like. Adonis Felios beast mode here. Well, we'll have to see. And speaking of this individual, sorry I'm late, guys. I figured out you can air fry bacon.
Good old Zero.
You want to say anything to Zero?
Hi, Zero. Hope that bacon's turning out well for you, good sir.
Okay.
Also, give Linda my regards.
Ooh, well, we'll certainly plead the fifth on that here. And Craven Rage is with us here once again. And something tells me here, Mr. Rage, in a few short minutes, is going to certainly want to see a Rage, just maybe, against the machine toward him. But I have to ask you, the new Messiah, Nicholas Crenson. I mean, I see something on the screen here that we haven't seen before on Sportswire Radio. And I know that those that are listening and watching might be curious on what that logo is, and tell us all about it.
So if you've been paying attention to Joey's vlog, you've noticed that whenever I've been dealing with this whole Mark Packer situation, I've been talking to my lawyer. I've been talking to Linda. And I have to thank our good friend Cyril that just popped in here a little bit ago, because he was the one that introduced me to Linda to kind of help get the ball rolling on getting that fine taken care of. And hey, getting me that interstate championship match. But also, I got to meet an individual by the name of Dirty Deadskin, who has given us so much backing, especially to the lawyers, to me, and Zero. And he wanted to form a group. And the whole idea behind the group was this: we're going to do whatever the hell we want. We're going to just have at it. We're going to go ape on everything this season. And we thought, why not disturb the natural order of things? Why not disturb how everyone thinks it's supposed to be? And, well, I mentioned before that I've been a bit of a nightmare for Mark Packer. Well, now me, Zero, and Dirty Deadskin are going to be a bit of a nightmare for Mark Packer and management. Especially, Mark Packer just made that announcement. Mark Packer also had a little bit of a provision he had to put into the contracts for both me, Zero, and Deadskin, because our lawyers forced it in. And he's in the process of reading through what we put in. And he's going to be pulling his hair out soon.
So it looks like Mr. Packer could be in for something he certainly didn't anticipate, correct?
Oh, definitely. See, this is our logo. This is the logo for Vector. We're calling ourselves Vector because we are like a carrier of chaos, a carrier of unbridled anarchy. We are going to be the sickness of WCE in a way that we are going to waste away the established order of things and make things how we feel they should be.
Well, certainly the Sex Pistols had famously sang Anarchy in the UK for our UK listeners, but apparently it seems to me as if the new Messiah Nicholas Crenson and Zero Deuce could very well be singing Anarchy in WCE. And certainly Zero says shake things up a bit. Also, Adonis says, always remember, the house always wins. If you do bet on Drip King, you end up pretty much a loser. Luck of the draw here. Okay.
Wow. Wow, Adonis, that's a really bad thing to say about yourself.
Well,
You
he's the
bet
Drip
on the
King
Drip King,
after all.
you bet on the Drip King, you end up a loser. And you say you're gonna be in beast mode. Hey, remember how it ended up when you tried to be a little bit of beast mode on me and I shoved my elbow down your face a few times?
And Zero says he has such a way with words. That almost reminds me of the segment where what was it, the Sid segment one time in WCW where I think he talked about.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. The I am half the man, and I have half the brain that you do.
And then famously the Scott Steiner promo where he talks about doing the math, the Steiner math one.
Yes, Steiner math.
That's Adonis Valios. Adonis Valios is bringing up Adonis math here on Sportswire. Certainly, we are certainly having a lot of fun here, but we are on Sportswire Radio. If you like what you hear from us, you can give us a like and follow on Facebook at Sportswire Radio. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can listen to all of our great content on sportnarium.com/player. You can also listen to us on YouTube now at Sportswire Radio. We have a lot of new subscribers. I appreciate all that good luck and support. And we will be back tomorrow, as I mentioned, afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Time here in New York, and also 8 p.m. British Standard Time, where we will be speaking with Owen Carter. Certainly, we had mentioned that before, so I hope everybody will tune in. Really appreciate all the big supporters and all people from around the world that have tuned into Sportswire. And obviously, Wrestling Championship Entertainment has been a big part of that. And I will be promising everyone here will have coverage throughout the month. We are going to have a who's who of people coming on from WCE. So stay tuned later this week for some announcements. Something tells me that Mr. Crenson could even be back, could even be in the chat. It sounds like that we'll have a lot of wall-to-wall coverage. Everybody's thinking about March Madness. Everybody's thinking about opening day and the WBC and baseball. But in Sportswire Radio, we are getting you ready for Wrestling Championship Entertainment's Luck of the Draw here and Beat the Clock. Certainly two of the premier shows here throughout the wrestling world. And in a couple of minutes, I might have to unveil something that I don't know anybody is going to know what's coming here. So stay tuned very quickly for that. Adonis Felio says, no worries, Nicholas Crenson. We will cross paths and you are going to swim with the biggest shark in WC. But I have a feeling that shark is not Adonis Felios. Am I missing something?
Adonis, you are a great white shark in a vast ocean of WCE. I'm the goddamn Megalodon.
Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Nicholas Crenson is the Megalodon. And I don't think Adonis Felios pales into comparison until what you could very well see about to hit him. So certainly stay tuned for that. But anything else that you might want to say to Mr. Packer? I know you've been very, very, very confrontational toward Mr. Marshall / Catalyst, but certainly Mr. Packer, anything that you want to address to him? Because I have a feeling he is going to have another announcement or two for Luck of the Draw between now and the next few weeks, and you know we're going to be talking about it here on Sportswire.
Yeah, Mr. Packer's going to definitely have an announcement, and more than likely it'll be in the next, I'd say, about 2 to 3 weeks here, because right now he's got his head deep buried in paperwork and litigation.
So I guess he won't be saying so much "Go Pack, go!" Not so much "Go Pack, go" for him then right now these days, huh?
No. He's gonna feel like the Packers front office when it comes to Aaron Rodgers' decision.
Well, that's a fair point, but I think Packers fans these days, when we spoke about this on our Sportswire shows for our regular sports fans, that I think Packers fans might be on the fence on this one. I don't know how Mr. Packer feels or about how he feels about you these days. Go ahead. I'm bigger than the Megadon. Consider me as the Meg of WC. Adonis Felios is certainly dropping things here. That's why he says it's Adonis Felios Beast Mode.
You're the Meg of WC. I'm gonna say this to you once to quote Peter Griffin: "Shut up, Meg."
Wow. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I get all this stuff, but apparently we have somebody here that has requested to come on right now onto Sportswire Radio. This was not planned. This was not certainly something we spoke about. This is something that is going to shock not only the professional wrestling world here, but the WCE universe as we speak. And I got to bring him on here because he's a soul collector. And apparently, he's up for collecting souls in Wrestling Championship Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, from the EWF, the state of California, a man who knows all souls. He is the soul hunter. They call him Skulls. Skulls! I mean, what are you doing here?
Well, there's been some buzzing in WCE, and
Really?
my name has been brought up for me to collect some souls coming
Now,
this July.
whose soul are you talking about? Are you talking about Nicholas Crenson's here? Because Nicholas Crenson has spoke a lot today. I mean, is there a particular soul that you're speaking about?
Well, there's one who wants me to take people's souls, and you guys know him as Craven. Craven invited the Skull to
He did?
WCE.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I
For
mean,
one night only.
so you're saying that Craven Rage invited you?
Yes.
And he's invited you this July?
Correct.
Well, apparently there are people that want to talk about this. James Marshall says, didn't know Craven has a cousin who sounds like Yoda. Are you related to Yoda by any chance?
No.
But why are you targeting Wrestling Championship Entertainment? Why are you targeting Craven Rage? And why do you think he's wanted to invite you?
Ever since the interview on Sportzwire Radio last week, my name's been causing a lot of buzz. And WCE decided to take a chance on the Skull.
I mean, Nicholas Crenson, have you gotten a heart attack from Skulls coming to Wrestling Championship Entertainment? I mean, what do you make of this here? I know that you're maybe not in the crosshairs, but what do you make of this here? Because certainly this is just breaking news here that no one saw coming here except maybe Skulls and I guess Craven Rage.
I'll say this, the more the merrier. It sounds like Mr. Skulls here is ready and hungry for competition, and also, if I'm not mistaken, to cause a little bit of mayhem. And I welcome that mayhem.
Well,
So
let me ask
I
you a
look
question. Well, let me ask you a question. You said you like mayhem, right?
Yes.
I
And I
mean,
look forward to the mayhem.
well, I mean, are you recruiting?
Vector always has openings for anybody who'd like to be a part of it. So, Skulls, you ever want to, you're always free to join up. But honestly, I just want to see you create whatever kind of mayhem you have planned. And knowing that Craven was the one who brought you here, oh, that just makes this so much sweeter.
But do you think it's possible, Mr. Skulls? Now, I know that you're a soul collector, right? We've established that here on Sportswire already the past few weeks, and I have a few comments here, right? But are you maybe at all concerned that Craven Rage, who's pretty much the ruler of the WCE yard here, are you concerned that possibly maybe he's setting you up?
I don't think he's that stupid
You don't
to
think so?
risk his own soul. Because he's the only one been talking to me.
Wait, say that again?
And no other company. He's the only one that's been talking to me, and no one else from WCE even tried to reach out to the Skull.
So you're saying that. So you're saying, let me get this
he might
straight.
be trying to build a family of chaos.
So let me get this straight here. You're potentially going to be a part of family that's dedicated to chaos and wrestling championship entertainment?
Who knows what's in store? Just a matter of time.
This
But
is
when
certain.
Skull shows up, the whole world will know what's coming.
Nicholas Crenson, did you know anything about this at all by any chance? It seems like this is certainly something that's shocked a whole bunch of people here, because I do have some comments I'm going to get on the screen for both of you gentlemen.
Leave it to Craven to go out there and reach out to any potential threats to him. He's just knowing him, this whole thing is him just making sure he doesn't have to worry about somebody. But
Well,
I take it, Skulls, that some point you're there to collect souls and titles, aren't you? So
possibility. But one thing Skull does not know, who's going to be standing on the other side of the ring. So Skull does not know who his next victim is yet.
hopefully whoever finds out that they are your next victim, they are prepared for the hell you're going to bring them. And maybe that's what Craven's trying to prevent by having you join him. I could see July would be interesting. You come to WCE Skulls, and say by then in one corner you have Skulls, the Soul Hunter. In the other corner, the WCE All-Out Champion Craven Rage, and you're challenging for that belt. So Craven, has reached out to you. He's the one to talk to you most of the time here. What's to say that he just set his own soul up for collection?
But who's to say that, listen, Craven is cooking the meal, but Skulls, you're the meal. That old tale that we were all told about cooking the meal, and everybody thought, oh, I'm going to sit there and enjoy the meal, but you're the one that's being cooked, especially with the run that Craven Rage has had in WCE, which has led him to being the all-out champion.
Well, if that's the case, Craven Rage hasn't seen what Skull's capable of. Just I may have been away from the ring for 14 years, but by the time I come back, I'll be 6 months back in
Wow, you heard it first. We
by the
spoke about it
time
last week. Yep.
Skull shows up to WWE.
Well, I have people that want to talk to the both of yous. So let's get to those comments. Skulls is coming to WCE with
Correct.
rather conspicuous emojis here from Adonis Felios, who then goes on to say that Craven Rage, you have met your match, and yet Craven Rage only has one comment here. Surprised. Craven Rage, who's usually one of the biggest talkers around here, who usually talks about he's the greatest of all time and he's the ruler of the WC yard and nobody can beat him and Roman Reigns can't touch him and nobody could touch him. But yet Craven Rage is quieter. He's quieter than a New York night in the middle of January. I mean,
He's got Mark Packer sucking him off.
I don't know here, but Zero Deuce says, I ain't hanging out with the corny Batman voice guy. Don't sit by me. So, Zero Deuce, by the way, Skulls, Soul Collector, he don't want nothing to do with you. That's what he's saying.
She was smart.
Well, I may be the Joker, but in this world, I'm definitely not Batman.
No, I wouldn't confuse you for Batman at all. I would have to say that Bruce Wayne and Skulls would certainly be not separated at birth here. And James Marshall says a dysfunctional family, but is it a family? That's what some might say. And somebody here that wrestles in the UK who might be confused more than anybody here, who they used to know him as someone related to Bob Costin, says, the number one. Because, well, he hasn't had too many number one moments. But no, we're all kidding. We love Bob Costin, obviously, who was with the LWF. And when was the last time you were in the LWF, Bob Costin? But all kidding aside here, huge shout out to this individual here. But, I mean, are you gentlemen? I have to say this for both of you gentlemen. Craven Rage, he ain't the rage right now. He seems to be awfully quiet. I mean, are you gentlemen surprised at all about the fact that Craven Rage is pretty he's silenter than a Christmas Eve night, maybe?
Oh, not really, because for me, it's I already know the whole thing, and this is why I target WC Management, Mark Packer. Craven's just busy this whole offseason sucking up to management.
But why do you think he would need to, though? Why do you think? I mean, listen, we spoke about JDT in the past, right? In those wars. He's out of the picture, right? Kodak Kid, he's out of the picture, right? All these different people, one by one by one. He said it himself, Craven Rage, that he stacked them. So why would he need to suck up to management is my question.
He's getting desperate. He's been champion. He's been was Wisconsinite. Now it's the All Out. He's been the All Out champion since April of last year.
Well, I know we're coming on a year. We spoke about it in the summer. He just became the champion.
In every match he's had for that belt, he's come closer and closer and closer and closer to it just being ripped out from his grasp. He needs to suck up to management and Mark Packer because he is afraid that eventually his time is up. Who knows? Skulls might be the one to do it. Hell, I may be the one to do it at some point. You could have anybody, Darkfire, Jovi can't even touch that right now.
Jovi's
Zero
would be interesting. Zero would be an interesting one because we don't know.
Here's a name that I've been hearing a lot of buzz around, and I think we got some news coming up in the next few weeks about him. Eric Mecca.
Interesting name. I feel like that name rings a bell here. And I do have, though, Craven Rage, Skulls. He has come in. He has something to say, but I'm confused by it. He says, no one wants to do with anyone of the ruler of the yard, and skulls will be collected souls for. I mean, Mr. Skulls, the soul collector, would you like to respond to that?
Well, you the one made the call. The skull answer. So it's like you calling the firefly, but instead you woke up the soul of the graveyard. You the one want the call to come. And I responded, which is yes.
Okay, all right. And Adonis Failure says TikTok Craven. We've been saying this for months. We have been saying for months it's going to be Craven's time. Somebody's going to beat him, and it's been month after month after month, and we've recapped it all throughout this season on Sportswire. We have all said that Craven Rage. He always finds a way, and Craven Rage, by the way, addresses you, Nicholas Crenson, specifically. He says, I don't need to suck up to management. I run the yard and I own the yard. Everyone falls to me and falls in line. So Craven Rage says he's not sucking up to anything.
Yeah, you own the yard. You rule the yard. I pissed in the yard.
Now,
You ain't no Undertaker.
Ooh, so could very well Craven Rage finally have met his match? You'll have to find out, but you also want to follow Wrestling Championship Entertainment on Facebook at WCE. WCHeat.com for more information on Wrestling Championship Entertainment. YouTube at WCHeat. Also give a friend request on Facebook to the new Messiah, Nicholas Crenson. Skulls, 88 Skulls on Instagram. Also subscribe to his page on YouTube as well. And Skulls, I have to ask you this question here before we move on here and maybe get to some other thoughts from the two of you before we close out here. I mean, I heard that you and a fan, there was a big incident. I mean, Nicholas Crenson, I know you have a lot of fans out there, but I mean, apparently there was a big incident with you and one of your fans?
Correct.
So what happened with you and one of your fans? I mean, did they want an autograph or what?
Well, Skull was happily sleeping in his coffin when a young fan at 3 in the freaking morning decided he wants to bang on Skull's hotel door and ask for an autograph.
Wow.
At 3 in the morning.
What did you do?
I'm like, what the hell? Because in my mind, I'm about to rip somebody's head off and collect their soul. So I took that kid to his parents, and his parents acted like it was not a big deal because they saw me earlier in the gym and recognized me. So I had to notify security about the kid running down the hall at 3 in the freaking morning.
I don't know if I've heard that one before, Skulls, and I would think that because you are the soul collector, that you'd have just collected his soul and just maybe did it yourself and reported him to the authorities.
Well, Skull has kind of a reputation. So I did give the kid a freaking autograph. I was in his packing because for their parents to be that dumb in the worst city in California to have your kid running around at 3 a.m. in the morning?
Well,
How
I gotta
do you
ask.
not know?
I gotta ask Nicholas Crenson, have you ever had trouble with your fans like this? I mean, I know your fans are always speaking with you when you go around. I mean, have you had these kind of troubles with your fans?
No, but also I live in Wisconsin, and the worst that we get is just somebody being drunk going, "Hey, hey, what you got there, buddy?"
Yeah, I mean, Craven Rage might have those problems because he says he's the ruler of the yard. So I'm sure that Mr. Craven here certainly has his own issues. But Adonis Felio says here that must be fighting words. And I think he's talking about the Craven Rage Skulls war here that could potentially be happening here. And I want to recap the news here tonight on Sportswire Radio. First, we had breaking news from the fact that Mark Packer has announced, with luck of the draw, Nicholas Crenson, one of his opponents, is going to be Catalyst, and that'll decide the Interstate Open Weight Championship, the championship that was vacated by JDT, formerly held by James Marshall. And something tells me here with the mood that Nicholas Crenson is in tonight, that Nicholas Crenson could very well break the 17-year drought, one of the longest droughts, not just in professional wrestling, but in all of professional sports. Nicholas Crenson here with the new logo we've got also announced, and the news that has shook up the professional wrestling world here. Skulls, the Soul Collector, who comes with us via the EWF, is marching on to WC here this summer in July, and it looks like he's going to be a guest of the yard of our all-out champion, Mr. Craven Rage. It looks like this could be a rage against the machine, a rage against the souls, the Soul Collector versus the ruler of the yard. This is going to be one for the ages here. And Skulls, I mean, are you preparing like weapons or something here? It looked like you had something in your hand there. What was that?
Well, my phone's about to die.
No,
But-
well then let's get you. So you know what? Let's get your closing thoughts, and I'll get you off here very quickly before we move on. Everyone acknowledges Roman Reigns, and I have made everyone fall to me. Nicholas Crenson, Adonis Felios, Tyler Ark, Darkfire, Sean Jovi, Kodak Kid, JDT doesn't even work here anymore, have all fallen to me. Skulls will fall in line, or you will fall to me. Skulls, I'm going to give you the floor because I know you have to run here. Your phone's about to die, so give us some closing thoughts here before you collect your cell phone soul and anything else you want to share.
Well, I'm not a man to be a victim of anything. So, if you mention the skull, you might get your wish.
Ooh. And we can follow you on Instagram, 88 Skulls, also YouTube as well, Mr. Skulls.
Yes, and also you guys can follow me on Twitter.
What's your Twitter handle?
Skull the Soul Hunter.
I'll be doing that right when we get off the air because I don't want my soul collected, but I actually want you back on Sportswire because we have an announcement actually in a couple of days.
I
Yep.
hope you get my shirts real soon.
I was going to make an announcement about that. I was glad you brought that up. So stay tuned on Sportswire Radio's social media pages later this week because I'm going to be joining the Skulls fan club. Skulls, my friend, we will speak with you soon. And that was Skulls the Soul Hunter here that has interrupted us here. I mean, Nicholas Crenson, you got to give us your reactions here. I mean, what was your impression of Skulls here in the EWF?
He is an interesting individual. And it is kind of surprising. I thought Craven, I'll give it to him. I thought Craven was bringing him in to form an alliance, but he just can't stop putting his goddamn foot in his mouth. Craven, you are one of the best wrestlers in the world, but you are also one of the dumbest wrestlers in the world when it comes to making enemies.
So
and
you
want to say
done...
everybody is, and you can say everybody falls in line for you. You've beaten me. You've beaten Adonis. You've beaten Tyler Ark. You've beaten Jovi. You've beaten Darkfire. You've beaten JDT. You beat Dash Andros, and we haven't seen him in a long time. We haven't seen Kodak in a while, but we know Kodak's coming back. Here's the thing, though, Craven. You say everybody's fallen to you. Well, buddy, they keep coming back, so you haven't done shit. It's part of my language. You haven't done anything there. So if you want to say somebody's fallen to you, you have to make sure they stay down. And looking at your track record, Mr. Rage, you haven't done that yet. You've just skated by with a belt.
Okay, could be poetic words. I do have some more comments. Somebody who I know is also going to be joining us tomorrow live and is also up. It's 3:58 a.m. where he is. That is Mr. Dan Robertson, the Cult of Killjoy, who I also, by the way, own his T-shirt. He is also one of our favorites on Sportswire Radio, and in a lot of ways reminds me a little bit of Nicholas Crenson. Says "Evening from the Cult," and I guess the cult doesn't sleep. I guess apparently. So big shout out to Mr. Robertson. He'll be with us, I'm sure, in the stream when we hear the debut of Owen Carter of the Wrestling Appreciation Society. But Zero has a bunch of comments. He says, bro, skulls sleeping in coffins in hotels, signing autographs, phone dying. I'm definitely not intimidating. Does he drag the coffin in through the front door or assemble it once he's unpacked? Are there hotels in Cali already furnished with coffins? I mean, I don't know that question. So admittedly, I would have to ask somebody from California. I mean, admittedly, and I'm not trying to be facetious. I'm not trying to get my own foot into my own mouth. But that would be a question I'd have to ask somebody in the state of California. But it is a fair point. I mean, I guess skulls sleeping in coffins in hotels. I didn't realize coffins in hotels mixed. I mean, I get the signing autograph part, but I guess there's a point that Zero says he's not intimidated. And Craven Rage also wants to point out that he has done something you could never accomplish: win a title. No, but you have won a title. It's just been 17 years. I know it's one of the longest shots in professional sports, but you have won a title before.
So I got to make a little bit of an addendum to that. It's been 17 years since I held a top title. I've held like tag titles a couple years back, but yeah. And Craven, here's the thing. And your point being, anybody can win a goddamn title, and you have done everything in your power to keep your title. But buddy, you're soft. You're eventually going to lose it. Like I said, you can't keep anybody down. And that's the thing. That's why Mark Packer has said to me and done everything to keep me from actually trying to get a rematch with you, is because you beat the living heck out of me, and I've become worse. I've become a more of a nightmare in WC, and that really is, you could thank James Marshall for it, but really that all started with you, Craven.
All right, well, listen, I mean, there are some wrestlers out there that they didn't win so many titles, and they were just fine. You could make that argument. Roddy Piper was an example of somebody who never held a world title. I mean, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, never won a world title, and I mean, there are certain wrestlers out there that they're not necessarily needing of the title. So, I mean, you could make that point. Also, somebody else here, by the way, who's up from also in England, who's also a big man, which I think Craven Rage would want almost zero part of. He's actually the undefeated Big Cheese Logan from the UK. Probably the biggest interview I've literally ever done, figuratively and literally. Says, good evening, my friends. Sending positive vibes for the day ahead. And by the way, Nicholas Crenson, Big Cheese Logan actually has his own figure. He has his own T-shirt collection. I mean, he is like a superstar in England. He is legitimately a superstar. And he also says, my opinion on winning titles. And he's only won one title, and the world title he won, he gave it back to the promoter. So Big Cheese Logan, the undefeated, legendary Big Cheese Logan, who's got the longest undefeated streak in wrestling history, as some might say. I mean, he hasn't needed a title, and he's done just fine. I mean, so at the end of the day, you could make the point that not everybody needs to win a championship. Big Cheese Logan would be
Sure.
the biggest example of it. I mean, he's been in there with the who's who of people, squared off with legends. He's doing academy sessions for our dear friends over at Championship Wrestling Entertainment, who, by the way, are kind of the reverse of you guys. Your Wrestling Championship Entertainment. They're Championship Wrestling Entertainment. They're going to have their Reborn show coming up here on April the 21st, which is about 6 or so weeks from now. And I hope everybody follows them at Championship Wrestling Entertainment, official_CW at Instagram, because we're going to actually see AEW star, MLW star, Mickey Metis over there. So Mickey Metis, we've seen in the MLW, we've seen him on Dark and AEW, and he's going to be there for them. So we'll have more coverage for that as well. And Skulls apparently is from a skull unknown or a coffin unknown somewhere, and he says, let the soul hunting season begin. All right, you know what? We've heard a lot tonight, Nicholas Crenson. And certainly, we've heard about the news here with you and Mark Packer giving you Catalyst as one of the opponents for Luck of the Draw. We've seen Skulls here break into your segment and talk about that he's coming for Craven Rage. He's coming here to WCE, and we've even had wrestlers from all over the world come in. And, I mean, we've got the new logo to talk about, but I want to give you the floor now, and I want to give you any final thoughts or anything else that, you may want to say, because there's a lot of people tuned in right now, and they want to hear what the new Messiah has to say.
Certainly. Craven, I'm going to just say this once more to you. You have beaten and defeated people. Nobody's fallen to you because every single one of us are still around. Some are just taking longer to get back. Mark Packer, you think selecting Catalyst is going to really bother me? It doesn't. It makes me more excited now because it just means I'm one step closer to being the new Interstate Openweight champion. And like I said, Mark Packer, good luck dealing with Vector's contracts, because Linda was adult and helped us get that provision put in for us. So enjoy your about 2 to 3 week long headache you're going to be dealing with now. And Reverend, I always appreciate you having me on.
You are one of my favorites, by the way. I have said this before on many of our streams throughout all over the world. I have said you are one of my favorites.
And this is more of a kind of a lighter, serious note. Like I said in earlier interviews, I've said this season the gloves come off. And this is for everybody in the locker room. The gloves come off. We are going to go all out this year. Pun kinda intended. And hi, Craven. And then finally, lastly, if you think you are going to get anywhere in NWC, you want to be a champion, then the first thing you're going to have to accept, and we all accept this, you're going to get hurt. Just accept it. I do.
You're going to have a strong tolerance for pain here. And before we move on here to say goodbye, we do have a number of comments here. So we're not going to just say goodbye just yet, because I think Mr. Crenson is going to want to hear some of them. On the lighter note, Skulls, first of all, needs a cheeseburger. Are you a cheeseburger kind of guy, Nicholas Crenson? I know you're a new Messiah. I know you're about pain. I know you're about chaos. But are you a cheeseburger guy by any chance?
Oh, you can never beat a good cheeseburger, be it from a good home diner, be it from a lovely fast food restaurant like, you could say McDonald's, Carl's Jr.'s, Hardee's, Five Guys.
Five Guys is a good one. Five Guys I don't consider in the same breath as McDonald's.
One I would recommend if you're ever in Wisconsin, especially in the area that we run here at WCE, there's a drive-in called Tom's, and it's some of the best burgers. Literally, they have a box, like it's like 12 something, and it's like 12 cheeseburgers.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's almost like a better version of White Castle there. And also another one, honorable mention, Checkers. People used to always rave about Checkers for the Checkers hamburger and fries. I mean, I went there once or twice. McDonald's I kind of avoid. But if I were to go and get a sort of I guess, chain place. I think what you had said prior, Five Guys would be the place I would go to. Years ago, I remember taking a date on to Five Guys, but
Whenever you go to Five Guys, only one of you needs to order fries.
well, that's why I went. But let's get to a few more comments here. Craven Rage got a couple of things he wants to get off his chest before we say goodbye. And I have a feeling he's going to be back, as I had mentioned earlier, that we will have throughout the month on Sportswire Radio Wrestling Championship Entertainment coverage. And he says, you want your shot, call Linda and call management. Oh, he'll definitely pray to your COC to pray to get your chance, because I guarantee that it will be you who won't be standing. And he also says, oh, Nicholas Crenson, there is a secret that you definitely need to be aware of. You know anything about that, Crenson? Secrets? So not concerned about it at all.
Bravo. Oh.
And Skulls wants to remind us about In-N-Out. Yeah, In-N-Out is a big one in California, right? That's a good one. In-N-Out would be a good one, and it will be he'll be at Luck of the Draw. Gee, breaking news tonight on Sportswire: Adonis Velios at Luck of the Draw. That's the news we all were coming out here. Also, interesting one here from Casey Jack Bradley. He says, "Why don't we have a forbidden door? The UK versus the USA." Well, I mean, if the promoter wants to put up the pounds or the dollars and we can make it happen, I mean, I'm sure that there are wrestlers on both sides of the Atlantic that might be interested in that. I mean, what do you make of that?
Honestly, I kind of like the idea. I would kind of like the idea of wrestling somebody like Casey Jack Bradley. I've seen some of his stuff and it's really good.
All right. Well, you know what? I mean, if there's a promoter out there that wants to find a way to make a medium happen, maybe that's something that we can certainly consider. And listen, I mean, Craven Rage talks about secrets. I mean, I don't know what to make of that. I'm sure we'll find out throughout the season here. Could it be Craven Rage is certainly meeting his match with Skulls in July? But I know one thing, Craven Rage is going to be a busy man in these next couple of months. So let's see how he does first between now and then. So let's certainly stay tuned for all of that. And also, if you are, again, before we go, please follow Wrestling Championship Entertainment on Facebook, Wrestling Championship Entertainment at WCE Heat, WCEHeat.com. WCE Heat on YouTube for Wrestling Championship Entertainment. We will have updates throughout the month on Sportswire Radio on their social media pages about match announcements and all different types of stuff here. And also, Adonis Felio says, thank you, Tom Bryce. Sportswire Radio is still number one, not just in the USA, but worldwide. Absolutely, my brother, because we have now almost 600 followers. We have certainly been improving them. The numbers go up. Each week goes on Facebook. So we have some interviews out there that have thousands of views. So I mean, yes, definitely Sportswire definitely is on the up and up because of our friends like Wrestling Championship Entertainment, like Nicholas Crenson and Craven Rage and Skulls the Soul Hunter. Skulls did drop a hint when he was live. Yes, we kind of did get that hint. And James Marshall says sky is the limit, especially when it comes to Wrestling Championship Entertainment, because we will keep pressing on when it comes to the sky is the limit. For our friends here, as Luck of the Draw is just a few short weeks away, and Nicholas Crenson is going to be a huge part of it. Also, Casey Jack Bradley says here, there's so many I would love to see on Sportswire that will draw views. Well, I think you're one of the people that he might want to see out there.
That would be an honor.
Well, I'll tell you what, listen, stay tuned. And Casey Jack Bradley was also messaging me on Facebook earlier this week about different guests I should try to bring on. And I basically said, we'll certainly keep all options open, but we certainly do have a stacked roster, as we always do on Sportswire. We're very blessed to continue to have a gradual stream of people that contact us. And no doubt that Nicholas Crenson, Craven Rage, James Marshall, and almost everybody you've seen here tonight are a huge part of that. My friend, I am looking forward to the start of the season. We're almost there to opening day, and I know we're going to be talking a lot about it between now and the end of the month. So certainly let's see what happens and keep up the chaos, keep up the mayhem, and we'll see what the future brings us here, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Reverend. I always enjoy talking to you. You have a wonderful evening.
Now, was that a Skulls impersonation there?
Not really.
I almost thought for a minute it sounded like Skulls there. You literally sounded like a Skulls impersonation. And Adonis says, till the next time, Sportswire Radio, good night and Godspeed. Well, that next time will be 8 p.m. British Standard Time tomorrow with Owen Carter of Wrestling Championship Entertainment. But right now, we were joined with Nicholas Crenson, the new Messiah, who will be in action for Wrestling Championship Entertainment's luck of the draw, and he will be wrestling a few opponents. One of them we know at the moment is currently recently announced by General Manager Mark Packer before we went on the air is Catalyst. So we'll see what happens. For more details, again, follow Wrestling Championship Entertainment's social media pages. If you are on sportnarium.com/player, you'll go back to your regularly scheduled programming in a little while. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, as I mentioned, we'll be back 8 o'clock British Standard Time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on the number one global radio station, and thank you to Wrestling Championship Entertainment for granting us the opportunity to speak with the new Messiah, Nicholas Crenson. My name, you know by now, is the host of the Sports Report, the owner of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. Thank you, everybody here, and good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire